Good morning, Yankees fans. Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. Happy Monday morning. It's just me, Oos, right now. Hopefully, I have Donald joining me in a few moments. Tats has some stuff to deal with, some unfortunate stuff to deal with. So, all the best to Uncle Tats and his family. We love you, Tats. Hopefully, everything gets sorted out soon. But for now, it's just me and you guys in the chat joining me for this Yankee misery that we've been dealing with for a few months now. It has been a rough brand of Yankees baseball for the last, 2 months, nearly 2 months. It's almost tough to keep track of how bad they've been. But what's up to the people in the chat? Jonathan popping in. Luca, NFE. What's going on, NFE? John the Beagle Dad, bright and early. He's your early bird award winner for the day. I don't know if the Yankees are winning any awards with the way they've been playing. They just lost 2 out of 3 again. What's going on, Miguel? They just lost another series to the Houston Astros. They are in serious danger of falling out of a playoff spot to the Cleveland Guardians of all teams. And there's my dude. He's here. Donald is live and early. What's going on, buddy?
Ready to rip this fucking team. That's what I'm ready to do. I don't know.
My mic keeps muting me. The Yankees are playing terrible baseball, and it's terrible. And it's terrible. The manager's terrible. The gardeners are outside now, making it worse for me. How about you? How are you feeling right now about this team?
Right. They're a fucking disgrace. I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it. Just they run this organization like it's a cult. That's what they do. It's like they can't be wrong. Everyone else is at fault. They're excellent. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. So let's start with, I want to ask the chat, how would you do it? How would you prioritize, like, who's bigger to blame? Is it Brian Cashman for his ego and the roster? Or is it Aaron Boone? Is it Hal Steinbrenner? Who do you think is the most culpable? I think it's Aaron Boone. I think he's the most culpable. That's my personal opinion. I think he's most culpable. Rob, what about you? Where would you put it? Do you think Boone's the most culpable of the organization, or do you think how would you place it?
I think it's really all three. I mean, Boone's probably the easiest to blame because he's the manager. But the owner is the guy that gives the budget to the GM, and the GM's the guy that puts the team together for the manager to manage. So it's kind of like you can definitely blame all three. I just think it's easiest to blame Boone because he's the one that's front and center day in and day out. You know, like he's the one that's calling the shots in the dugout, so we think. And I can't put it all on Hal, but the fact that we haven't heard a peep out of him during this entire stretch during the summer where they've been the worst team, I think, in baseball, maybe the second worst team, it's kind of concerning because I'm not expecting Hal to be like, I'm going to fix this on the spot. It's almost impossible as the owner to be like, start winning or else. But to not hear a word, that's a little... it's a little concerning there. It's very concerning, actually. I don't even want to say a little. It's very concerning. I think Cashman's done all he could. I don't think his offseason was perfect, but it was pretty good. And his deadline, he gave Boone the pieces to have a better roster. And now it's on the manager, it's on the players. I think it's all in one. You got the owner who doesn't seem to care. The GM who's like, well, I did all I could with what I was given as a budget. And then you have the manager who can't seem to manage his way out of a paper bag. And you have the players who can't perform. So you just have this. It has to fall. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Mind Swamp. And it's easiest to blame Boone because he's the one that's front and center for it. Because you hear the way he answers questions and you hear the way the players answer questions. It's like they're taking after him. So his leadership is directly affecting the roster. And what is this the line in Remember the Titans, like, action reflects leadership, Captain, basically? Like, you want to hear from the leader, and that's going to kind of reflect on the rest of the team. And it's whatever his message is seems to be falling on deaf ears because they seem defeated. They'll never admit it, but, like, it's rough. I got to say, though, just to answer your question, while I do think it's everyone in one, the easiest to blame is Boone. And he's got to
Right.
go. If nothing's going to change unless they make some serious changes with everything, front office, coaching staff, they got to kind of just start anew from that whole perspective.
The reason why I think it's Boone mostly is he's the only one. Well, I would say Mike Fishman, but he's of the names I mentioned: Cashman, Howell, Aaron Boone. He's the only one that's genuinely really bad at his job. Aaron Boone's bad at his job, man. He's a bad manager. He is a bad manager. He's been given a loaded roster here, right? Now it's flawed. It has its issues. We know its issues, but the fact that we lead the league in home runs by a distance, we've got like a top 10 offense in general. We should be so much farther ahead than we are, but we're not. And why is that? It's because we have a manager who's bad at his job. He's been given a bullpen that has what? Like 4 closers. 4 closers. And he chooses the wrong one every time. And it's the one guy, Devin Williams, every single time. The one guy you don't want to turn to. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think he deserves Bednar. Bednar saved his ass twice.
You think Boone was itching to go to Williams in that game the other day, too?
He's itching to go to Williams anytime he can. That's why I just think Aaron Boone is genuinely bad at his job. He can't motivate this team. You obviously from the outside, all you see from him talking to the media is that he's Barney the Friendly Dinosaur. But then he'd like to have you believe that that's not the case internally. Like he's tougher on the players internally, behind the scenes, and all that stuff. Well, it ain't working, bro. Because look at the mental mistakes that are constantly happening on a daily basis, which means either two things: either one, you're not having these conversations, or two, you are having these conversations and they ain't listening to you, right? So which one do you want, Aaron? Because it's either one of those two, and if it's the latter, then that means that you are terrible at your job. And in fact, if it's the former, it also means that you're terrible at your job. So basically, you are terrible at your job. Brian Cashman, he's giving him a roster, man. He's giving him Bednar. He doesn't deserve Bednar. He's giving him one. He's got Duval in there. You got Weaver. You got a bullpen. You got a lineup. It's not my favorite lineup in God's great earth, but it is a lineup nonetheless. You should be able to win games with it. But he can't do it. That's on Aaron Boone. Cashman's giving him a roster. So, and Hal Steinbrenner, I mean, he sets the tone in the organization. And he's absent. So that speaks volumes. However, he has given them the money. It's not like he refused to give out that kind of payroll. So the only person that's genuinely terrible at his job, other than Mike Fishman, who is genuinely terrible at his job, is Aaron Boone. I think he's just a very bad manager now.
All he's good at, and I said this on Twitter yesterday, the only thing he's good at is getting ejected. And I feel like he did that on purpose yesterday, just because he didn't want to manage, because he heard himself get booed in pregame, and it's like, well, they can't blame me for this one. They can blame Ausmus, and you kind of can, and that kind of shows you that I don't want Brad Ausmus being the replacement either, because he's just kind of like Aaron Boone light at this point. That's why I want like an entire change of the culture here with the front office and everything, but you just think about, I think Devin Williams is directly responsible for 8 losses this year, which would have us in first place. So You think about that. It's like 7 or 8 losses are solely on Devin Williams. And had they won even 5 of those 8 games, they're sitting one game out of first place. They don't have to worry about losing a playoff spot to Cleveland, who was selling off players at the deadline. They lost 2 guys to gambling, and yet they're still right behind us in the playoff race. So, I mean, you think about it, the Devin Williams trade, I think, obviously in hindsight, you don't do that trade, but in the offseason, we're like applauding it. That's a good move. You needed a closer. We all thought that was going to be the move that really solidified the bullpen, and it was the complete opposite. And the fact that it's August and Aaron Boone just keeps lying to himself and lying to the fans and saying, no, this guy's close to turning it around. And then Devin Williams just keeps saying, it's just one pitch. It's just one pitch. Yeah, it's the one pitch that's losing you 8 games. That's the one pitch. You're not supposed to be making that mistake. You're supposed to be the best in the game. And it's really a joke. And like I said earlier, just I can blame a lot of people, but it seems like Aaron Boone is like front and center of it, because you just hear his post-game interviews and you hear what he's saying, and just like there's no motive. Like, I'm not going to run through a wall for that guy, banging on a table, it's right in front of us, or we're close, or when we do break out of this, look out. You've been saying this for 2 months. When we break out of this, look out, because we're going to catch fire. When? When, Aaron? Because you're about to lose a playoff spot if you lose again tonight. Like, it's insane how far they plummeted from 8 games up to potentially falling out of the playoffs. That's a generational collapse that should lose somebody their job. You cannot collapse like that and then expect to stay on the team next year. If they do collapse and Aaron Boone's still the manager, that tells me all I need to know about the Yankee organization. And I really, really hope I'm wrong, because right now, I've defended Hal a lot on this channel. I've defended Cashman on this channel. I believe that they genuinely, right now, it's hard to say that they care, because you haven't heard a peep. Not a single word out of the owner, and barely anything out of the GM. Usually at times like this, they'll both be at least speaking to the media. Hal was doing this last year and 2 years ago in June when they were slumping. It's August and we haven't heard a peep out of him, so it's tough to say that Hal really cares right now. And I mean, why would he? Because they're still selling out the stadium, and you got fans organizing a Fire Boone Day. They're giving him money to go chant Fire Boone. So it's like, does he really care? And I hate saying these things because I don't think it's all on Hal Steinbrenner, but it's just like, where are you? At least give us something to tell us that, okay, while things are bad right now, that maybe you're at least looking at the wider picture and maybe a change is on the horizon. Because if this keeps up and you keep the same people in place next year in their jobs, why are we as fans going to believe it next year will be any different than this year and the year before and the year before and the year before?
That's a great point. Do you know what scares me? That on Old Timers Day, we heard more from the Dynasty Yankees, the retired greats. They are much angrier about the state of the Yankees than the current Yankee management, than the current Yankee players. That scares me. That scares me, guys. If there's a big indicator of where there's such a key difference, right? It was actually on Old Timers Day. We've already heard from A-Rod. He's pissed. We've already heard from Derek Jeter. He's pissed. Right? Jorge Posada is pissed. You see what Jorge Posada said? He is pissed. He doesn't like it. The amount of Dynasty Yankees that talked about the mental mistakes that are happening on a daily basis. I can name Tino Martinez was not happy about it. He's my boy. I fucking love Tino Martinez. Tino Martinez, he had some things to say. He says that the daily mistakes are unacceptable. The mental mistakes are unacceptable. The physical mistakes you can't accept. You're going to make errors. You're going to strike out. But the mental stuff you can't have. You can't give away outs. You can't make your pitchers throw extra pitches. You can't do it. You can't do that in the regular season. You definitely can't do it in the postseason. That's what Tino Martinez said. We've already seen us do that in the postseason. Just look in the World Series. Constant mental errors and mental lapses. And what are we doing the entire regular season this year and last year, year before that, blah, 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 blah. Mental mistakes. Tino Martinez, not happy, right? Jorge Posada, they need to have a chip on their shoulder. You can't be friends with everybody. Now, why did Jorge Posada say that? Because he knows. He knows. He knows that's exactly the clubhouse atmosphere that's going on right now. Aaron Boone, he wants everybody to be friends with everybody. And you know that Aaron Judge has prioritized friendships in the past. He has. When he's, as the captain, he's gone to bat for DJ LeMahieu and all that stuff. He likes his friends. So you've got that as well. Jorge Posada, you can't be friends with everybody. They need to have a chip on their shoulder. You got to get a little angry. But they don't get angry. All the players sleepwalk. Aaron Judge, as a captain, sleepwalks. The whole team sleepwalks. Aaron Boone sleepwalks. They all fucking sleepwalk every single day. It's awful baseball. Every single day they play horrible baseball. Every single day they play worse baseball than they did the day before.
We saw that throw from Bellinger yesterday.
Right. And then what does Willie Randolph say? Teams are not afraid of us anymore. He's the former captain. He says teams are not afraid of us anymore. And that's right. And that also speaks to the arrogance that the Yankees have. The Yankees are so arrogant. They think that they are still the big bad Yankees. They call themselves the big bad Yankees. They call themselves the Yankees. But in reality, they don't play like that. They don't prepare like that. They don't manage like that. They don't play like that. They carry themselves like they're still the Yankees, but they're not. They're Yankees by name only. And you've actually got genuine Yankees, real Yankees, Willie Randolph, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada. They're all watching this going, this is not right. Like, there's something seriously wrong here. And they've called it out. But the problem with, that's why there's such a huge disconnect. It's like, for instance, the voice of the Yankees, Michael Kay, calls the Yankee fans like
spoiled,
mouth breathers and all that stuff. Really insulting.
He hates us.
Right, but basically, he's saying that we're the problem. Okay, it's our expectations that are the problem. Okay, we've heard that from the Yankee organization in the past. We heard it a couple of seasons ago. It was like Gene Afterman, I think it was, said some stuff about Yankee fans that, Brian Cashman's the best of the best, and we should just be happy, right, with our postseason appearances on a daily basis. I can't remember exactly who it was that said it, but basically it was the Yankee fans' fault for our expectations, right? Our expectations are too high. Okay, so we got that. Well, then, tell that to Willie Randolph. Tell that to Jorge Posada. Tell that to Tino Martinez. Tell that to Derek Jeter. Tell that to A-Rod. Because they're pretty pissed watching this shit. Right? So clearly there is a disconnect going on here. So that tells me that the current Yankee management are only prioritizing keeping their jobs. They want to keep their jobs, and they have a bunker mentality. I keep saying that they have a bunker mentality. They're just surrounded by yes men, and they don't like to hear from the outside. They don't like the outside telling them that they're bad at their jobs. They lash out at it. They lash out a lot. I
Too
mean,
much.
far too much, which is very concerning for any kind of organization, especially one that lives in the public like the Yankees do. I mean, we've seen the way that Aaron Boone very insultingly answers questions to Meredith Morokovich. I've a lot of issues with the way he talks to her. Like, it's really insulting. He just asked. She asked him some normal questions about base running, maybe mistakes, and then he gets snarky with her. Right, so he doesn't like anybody asking him any questions. I mean, you've seen his behavior on Talking Yanks. Any kind of question, he's like, I don't care what you think. He's already said that before. Right? So he's definitely, he does not like anybody asking him any questions. So that's that. Brian Cashman, you know what he's all about, his process. He loves his process. Holy shit, he loves his process. Which is a guise for not winning. Whenever you talk about process, it means they ain't actually winning because you'd be talking about winning otherwise. So that's really just really a cover. But you saw that the way that he behaved when Joel Sherman asked him a question. He had his arms crossed and he even started giving him like that shit. So he doesn't like anybody asking him any questions. This is a Yankee organization that are very self-satisfied, arrogant. They don't like to hear from the outside. And if the fans boo, it's the fans' fault. If the fans demand expectations, it's the fans' expectations that are the problem. It's because they want to be self-satisfied. That's why it's a very difficult thing to root for. They're just a nasty, arrogant organization right now. And they kind of deserve this. They deserve exactly what they're getting right now. They deserve it. Excuse me, they do. They deserve this.
And it's hard to argue that they don't deserve it. Like, you can't argue it because think about it. You had a chance to be those big bad Yankees in a very winnable American League. I still don't think the American League is that good, despite the fact that teams like Toronto and Houston, Seattle's looking a lot better after the deadline. I don't think the American League is that good. And we said during the offseason, the Yankees have a chance to really just separate themselves from the entire pack with like one more move, two more moves, a third baseman and one more arm in the bullpen. And they would have been the big bad Yankees. And the way they were playing for the first 2 months, if they would just kept their foot on the gas, they would have been the big bad Yankees. And they could be pumping out their chest, being like, no one's going to catch us. Our own division's 8-9 games back. No one's catching us. And we're the big bad Yankees. We can spend the money. We can get who we want. We have the system to trade for players if we want to. You could have done that, but when you're, 6 games over 500 and barely holding on, clinging on for dear life by a thread for a playoff spot, you can't be pumping out your chest at all. And yet you hear it with the way Cashman answers questions sometimes, and especially Boone. You're right, the way he talked to John Boy and Jake. I know they're just fans, but you kind of get over that when you put them on the Yes Network. They're no longer just fans. They're kind of like baseball media now. I mean, John Boy is like recognized all over baseball and sports in general now. I'm not too thrilled about Jake, but that's another conversation. But yeah, like they're like media personalities. So what's up, old Sarge? It's just for him to be getting snarky with Meredith of all people. Like, you would have never have heard that from even Girardi. And I'm not no fan of Joe Girardi, but you never heard that from him. He wouldn't be getting all snarky like that. And it's just like, answer the question. Be real for the first time ever. Just tell it like it is. You don't have to, no one's asking you to berate the player. When they say, what do you think about Volpe's defensive struggles? Nobody's expecting you to say, oh yeah, he flat out sucks. Just be like, he's got to clean it up. It's not good. He's got to play better. It's a simple answer. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's the best player in baseball. I don't know what you're talking about. What base running mistakes? Oh, it's only been like 2 or 3 plays. Motherfucker, it's been like 2 or 3 plays a week. Like, what are you talking about? And I don't want to put this on Volpe because he has been better lately, but it's not good enough. But it's just like every time there's someone that's playing poorly, he doesn't want to say the tough thing and be like, yeah, it's not going well. He's got to pick it up and we're going to work at it. That's such a generic, like, video game response when you're playing as a coach in a freaking franchise mode that he can't even give you that. He's got to do whatever it takes to pump you up. So that's why when Posada said you can't be friends with everybody, a lot of people think that was a shot towards Judge. That was a shot towards Boone. Because if Aaron Judge had his way, Rizzo would still be here. Torres would still be here. A lot of Verdugo would probably still be here. We know how good he is with him. It was Judge that wanted Bellinger, and I think without Cody Bellinger, who knows what this team would be this year. But I'm not saying he's absolved of any blame, but it's only so much that one player can do, especially right now when he's just DHing. But think about that. Aaron Boone is not putting one of his best bats in the lineup day in and day out. When it's clear as day that Judge probably isn't 100%, why isn't Stanton playing? We know what happens when Stanton sits for a little while, he cools off. And when he cools off, it takes him a little while to get heat up again. And you're sitting him. So why'd you rush Aaron Judge back? I get it, it's Aaron Judge. But why not wait till he's 100%? Because now you're risking further injury, and it could impact him the rest of this year and hopefully not into next year, but you never know when it comes to the elbow. It's things like this, like you're sitting Giancarlo Stanton. One day after putting him in the outfield, it's like, I want to be cautious. But he's like one of the 4 guys that are hitting.
What he's doing with Stan is a disgrace. Before you carry on with that, you picked up on what he says regarding Volpe's mental lapses and basically everybody's mental lapses. Jazz Chisholm, defending Jazz Chisholm's mental lapse and all that stuff. What did Dave Roberts say when Shohei Ohtani got caught stealing third the other day? He said, not a good baseball play. That's Ohtani. That's the king of baseball. Dave Roberts is actually a genuine manager. He's a real manager. He said his authority right there. The king of baseball, Ohtani, was caught stealing third, made 1 mental lapse, and he goes, that's not a good baseball play. If that was Aaron Boone, he'd be like, that was a great decision. He should do it again. That's the difference. That is the difference. That's why the Dodgers don't make mental lapses and the Dodgers win, and the Yankees make daily mental lapses and the Yankees lose. Because the managers. You can't tell me that a manager doesn't make a difference. You cannot tell me that a manager doesn't make a difference.
He absolutely makes a difference.
Only the strongest Aaron Boone defenders say that a manager doesn't make a difference. A manager does make a difference because he sets the fucking tone in the locker room. He's the one that defends the mental mistakes. That's what Aaron Boone has been doing. When Jazz Chisholm got caught staring into space between first and second base, he said, it was a play out of thoughtfulness. He said it was thoughtful. That's fucking absurd. You're a fucking moron. Go fuck yourself. Fucking joke. Thoughtful. Go fuck yourself. That wasn't thoughtful. It was stupid. Anthony Volpe, when he got caught out of third base, that wasn't thoughtful. That was stupid. Just call it what it is. And you'd probably get more respect if you actually called it what it was. That's not a good baseball play. I'm gonna talk to him about it. I'm gonna clear it up. If he said that, no problem. Instead, he comes up with nonsense, absurdities, and nonsense, and it never gets cleared up. That is the difference.
No, you're absolutely right. It's thoughtful when you buy your girlfriend flowers on the spot, right? Just randomly. That's a thoughtful gesture. Oh, I got you a gift. And no occasion. That's a thoughtful gesture. Getting caught napping on the base paths, that's not thoughtful. What did he say about the idiot third base coach for sending Grisham in the first inning of that game? Oh, I see the reasoning behind it. What are we talking about here? You know, I'm glad you brought up about the difference between the managers, because to somebody that doesn't watch the Yankees and isn't as invested as we are, or anyone in this chat would be, on the outside looking in, they might see Aaron Boone's resume and go, why does everybody hate this guy so much? Look at his win-loss record. He's got an AL pennant. He's won the division multiple times, 100-win seasons. Why do they hate him so much? It's that reason right there. Dave Roberts has no problem, and not even putting Ohtani on blast. He's just saying that's not a good baseball play. And you're right. Ohtani, when it comes to baseball royalty, it's like Shohei, Judge, Skeens. Like you get like the top 5 guys.
He's the king.
He's the king of the sport, and for good reason. He's a hell of a player to watch. And Dave Roberts has no problem saying that was not a good baseball play. But Aaron Boone will not stop until he's blue in the face to defend Anthony Volpe for having a game-costing decision. And that's the difference right there. We don't need Boone to publicly throw Volpe under the bus, but just be honest with the fans and with the media. It was not a good baseball play. We got to make sure that doesn't happen. We got to clean it up. It's so generic, and he just doesn't want to give the generic answer. And that's why it's very difficult for anyone to get behind him. Because even if this team does catch fire in the final month, which is very likely because they do this all the time, and they make it to the playoffs, and maybe they go to the ALCS again. Who knows? I can't sit here and be like, maybe I was wrong about Aaron Boone, because we know what's going to happen. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. You can only watch the same movie over and over before you know the ending, and you get sick of watching it over and over again. I love the Friday the 13th movies. I can't watch them 25 times and be like, what's going to happen next? Because you know what's going to happen next. So I don't want to keep watching the same Yankee movie over and over. It needs to be changed. They need to change the entire culture. And that's why I'll repeat myself once again. The offseason, I said the biggest changes were internally. It wasn't with the roster. It was internally. And they didn't change a goddamn thing internally. And look at what we're getting. I really thought the Yankees would win the same amount or more games this year because they were a better fundamental team and they had a closer. Those two things have been the reason why we are currently hanging on by a thread to a playoff spot. That's on the leadership. That's on the management. That's on the fact that they don't... What was it? A week ago, they were finally practicing infield drills before the game. A week ago! It's August! It is August! And you want us to sit here and be like, Aaron Boone's win-loss record deserves another 5-year extension. No, it doesn't. He should have been fired 5 years ago. Instead, he's still here for another 2 years. And this is why I also said I don't want him getting an extension, not even an extra year. Fuck that safety blanket. He needs some pressure under him. He needs to have a little fire under him. Know that the seat is at least warm, because if he feels like he's safe, guess what's going to happen next year? The same thing. I got 2027 to make it better. They'll probably extend him in 2027 if he wins 90 games. It's infuriating that people they call us greedy, and Jeff Passan saying, oh, they don't like the Pirates. You're right. We're not. We expect to win. So, God damn, fuck us for having expectations for the 27-time champions to try to go win 28. I was in high school when they won 27. I'm not in high school anymore. I kind of want 28. Maybe I'm too greedy, but it's been a freaking long time since I saw my team hoist the trophy up. Kind of want to see it again. Is that being greedy? Every single sports fan wants to see their team win it. But we're the greedy ones? I know we've won before, but I want to win again. And so should the Yankees. But it doesn't seem like they give a damn, because they're still employing the same moron that got himself hurt in the offseason playing basketball. And they're just like, well, this guy's really good at imitating batting stances. Let's make him the next manager. And he's still here. So fuck his win-loss record.
He has no business being manager. But you know what scares me is I mean, we're discussing Aaron Boone a lot, but to be fair, Brian Cashman did say that he doesn't care about the win-loss record as long as they follow the process. So he's got a lot of culpability as well, because he refuses to admit that he's got this wrong. I can remember, and we did a podcast about this, I can remember this years ago. Remember when we were losing like for an entire month? Oh, wow, just like this year. And Brian Cashman says, we made our bed with Aaron Boone, we just have to lie in it. Remember he said that? Boone has had like 2 extensions since then.
It's a big-ass bed. It's really
2 extensions since then.
It's like
Brian Cashman's an honest guy. Aaron Boone's a liar, right? He lies every day and gets extended for it. Brian Cashman is very honest. He just told you. He made his bed with Aaron Boone. He's going to lie in it because he is the one that hired this fucking moron, and he has to keep him. Because if he doesn't, it looks bad on Brian Cashman. So Brian Cashman keeps him. Not because he's the best, not because he's an elite manager, unlike what he told us in the offseason where he said that there'd be a feeding fucking, I can't even say it with a straight face, a feeding frenzy for Aaron Boone. There would be a feeding frenzy for Aaron Boone if he was a free agent. That's a lie, actually. To be fair, to me, that's the biggest lie of all of them. That's the most hilarious lie. Yeah, right, let's go through it. Right, Tigers. Would they fire their fucking manager for Aaron Boone? Would they fuck? The Padres, would they fire their manager for Aaron Boone? Would they fuck?
No.
The Dodgers, are they going to fire fucking Dave Roberts for Aaron fucking Boone?
No.
Who got schooled in the World Series? Would they fuck? Boston Red Sox continually outperform their shitty-ass roster, right? Because of Alex Cora, because he's very good. And what does he do? He manages circles around Aaron Boone 10 times over. Are they going to fire their manager for No. The Blue Jays. No. I mean,
Tampa wouldn't.
Tampa wouldn't. Who else?
I don't even think the Mets would. Well, both managers are kind of cut from the same cloth. He is from Boone's
Yeah, I actually think the
tree.
Mets have a better manager. I do. Slightly. Marginal. Not huge, but definitely slightly better.
If you want to see why that Boone coaching tree doesn't work, look at what the Mets are doing right now. It's a collapse just like us. So, I mean, like, don't hire from the Aaron Boone coaching tree. The only one that kind of made it out was Espada.
Their manager, the Brewers, are running away with the National League right now. The Phillies, Rob Thompson, baby. Rob Thompson, who should be the Yankee manager. Are they going to fire their fucking manager for Aaron Boone? No. Brian Cashman gets away with all that for saying a lot of nonsense, and no one's allowed to say anything back to him because they'll lose their media privileges. But that was a lie. There'd be a feeding frenzy for Aaron Boone. Well, I've just named all like the teams that are like in and around the Yankees in terms of win-loss record. The Cubs, are they going to fire their fucking manager? Of course not.
No.
Right. So I've named about 12 to 15 teams right there. So what kind of feeding frenzy are there? What, the fucking Pirates? Have them. Honestly, be my guest. What are you talking about, fucking feeding frenzy? You liar.
It is a big, giant lie. No, there wouldn't be a feeding frenzy for him, and I don't think anyone would miss him. Honestly, because they all thought the same thing. Like, when they let Girardi's contract expire, everyone thought, oh, this is not going to be good for the organization. You know, in hindsight, they should have kept him for an extra year, or they had two perfectly good candidates on his own staff to keep around in Pena and Thompson. Instead, they went with the ESPN guy. So, remember 2 years ago when they fired the hitting coach and went with the podcaster, Sean Casey? I like Sean Casey, good player. But they hired him straight from podcasting to be the hitting coach, and then he was gone. So, like, it's decisions like this that just they don't make sense, and I don't know what feeding frenzy there would be for Aaron Boone. I can't think of it, and the fact there wouldn't be.
Who cares?
And but it's their excuse to try and convince us, as you say a lot, gaslight us, try to make us believe because they think we're stupid. We're not stupid. You heard all the former players. It's kind of why I wish they wasn't an old timers day, because I hate hearing these. I hate and I love hearing these quotes at the same time, because I love that there's actually some fire from people that used to play for this organization and know how much it means. But then I hate hearing it because it reminds me of just how bad this team is right now and how good we used to have it. Even when they weren't winning championships, you didn't see these kind of collapses. And it's just like, it really is annoying. And you know what's not annoying, though, is this chat, because they have been on fire all morning. And I do want to give them a proper shout out, because we are a good 40 minutes in. We've got 50 plus people. The chat's been on fire every single stream, and we appreciate every single one of you. So let's start from our latest comment from Gene Jacques. Let's see what he's got to say. Hal Steinbrenner should step down and hand it to Jennifer. Maybe we just get rid of the Steinbrenners in general. You know, and I don't know if Jennifer is going to change anything, but I get the point. If Hal does step down, maybe things will change a little bit. Luca, what's up? Saying he forgot Sean Casey was the hitting coach. It's easy to forget that. Welkin, good to see you. We got Welkin in the chat. We've got our usual suspects. Art Vandelay, Fritz is in the chat. Good to see you, Fritz. Good to see everybody. Sunil is here. Stevie B is here. We've got John the Beagle Dad, mentioned him earlier as the Early Bird Award winner. First comment, Izzy. Good to see Izzy. Like number 15. Yeah, get those likes up. Hit those sub button. Hit the share button. Do all the good things. Old Sarge, we mentioned you earlier. Good to see you as always, Old Sarge. Good to see Jared in the chat. Let's see who else we got up here. Everyone the comments are flying in, so it's hard to keep up with everybody. Evan, worse than 2023. Yeah. Jacob Pedruzzi. What's up, Jacob? Morning, fam. Good to see you. Let's see. I think we had TC was in here earlier. Sorry if I didn't get to you earlier, TC, but it's good to see you, of course. Damien was in the chat. Our usual friends and some new faces around here. It's good to see everybody. We thank you for joining us, Lou, in this misery. We're all in this together. And that's basically what we got to think about. High School Musical style. We're all in this together because it's really, really rough. Armand, good to see you. So, do we have to talk about this series with Houston? We had the one win. Everything else.
The one thing I want to pick up on, and you were talking about it, so let's talk about it again. What is this? What's going on with Big G? What is Aaron Boone's thought process with Big G? I don't understand it, man. He's the only guy that's hitting right now. Have you seen the numbers that he's putting up in August? The numbers he's putting up are absurd. He's mashing right now. And he's the one guy who Aaron Boone is desperate to not play. It doesn't make sense. What are they saving him for? If they continue to do this, there won't be an October to save him for. Right? He's the one guy that's hitting. And so when we were talking about this before, when they forced Aaron Judge back, it was kind of like a move where you've just taken out one great hitter and put in another. You're not actually solving anything. Do you know what I mean? And also, by the way, you've taken out the one hitter that's red hot to put in a hitter that's stone cold. Aaron Judge has been cold for weeks. And it's bound to happen. My God, he's been red hot for about 3 years. So, I mean, he's allowed to have a cold streak. But let's just be honest. He's been a little bit cold since the All-Star break. He has been. Yeah. Big G has been on fucking fire. The numbers that he's put up since he's come back from the two elbows, he's still got the elbow injury, and to have 10 plus home runs, a 900 OPS, and just mashing that, and he's been on base a ton. He's got a 430 on base percentage in August. He's been on base a ton. He's doing this when he's not even healthy. He's red hot right now. And the Yankees are like, nah, we're just going to make him a bench player. Now, I know that he is a DH, right? And I know that where are you going to play him? Motherfucker, play him in right field. You play Dominguez every day in left field, and he's more of a butcher in left than Stanton would be in right. He's a butcher out there, right?
He's been terrible.
Let's be honest. You got to find a way to get Big G in that lineup. He is red hot. The fact that Aaron Boone doesn't do it speaks to his lack of management. And he's a liar because he said during the previous series that he couldn't risk Stanton in the outfield, right? With the big roomy outfield over there in Texas. So he's like, the Astros, what we're going to do, a Yankee Stadium, Stanton will be more comfortable with in the right field in a Yankee Stadium. Only played him for about 3 innings of the series. So you're a fucking liar.
He should be playing at least 2 games of this upcoming series in the field. You got to get his bat, and I understand it's like I said earlier, it is Aaron Judge, and just his presence in the lineup alone makes it better. But you're right, he's not hitting. He's had a couple of hits since coming off the IL, but clearly they should have waited because you're risking your best player getting further injuring his elbow that could impact him going forward. I mean, we're very lucky that he didn't have a tear in that thing because he would be out for the rest of the year and into next year. Maybe he'd be back for spring training or the first week of the next season, whatever. But why risk it? I know they're not going to give up on the season, but make sure he's at least as close to 100% as possible. I know he wanted to play, and Aaron Judge is going to have the final say over most people. I get that, but at some point you got to be like, look, we need you for the long haul here, so we got to sit you for an extra week or so just to make sure you're good to go. We got Stanton who's hitting. We got Bellinger and Grisham. They're good enough in the outfield. We have the pieces that can at least put together enough runs to help win us some games. And when Judge is ready to come back, boom, you add an Aaron Judge, because maybe at that point in 2 or 3 weeks, somebody cools off. Maybe Stanton does cool off and needs a little bit of a break. Look, we lost Rosario to the IL, so it kind of would have, yeah, exactly. It would have made things, once again, another Brian Cashman acquisition gets on the IL. But things always seem to work itself out. Slater got hurt, so Judge got activated, but maybe they should have waited. Because right now, Judge isn't hitting. I don't think he's 100%. And Stanton was hitting, and now you're going to risk cooling him off because the Yankees don't believe in hot. Now, we had a conversation about it earlier, and there was a comment, I think it was in the chat, about an interview with minor league players saying they don't teach fundamentals. Remember when Didi Gregorius had it I saw this, I think, from an article I read recently.
It was Talking Yanks, and there was also several other articles as well on top of that.
Yeah, when Didi was on a rehab assignment, he said, you won't believe what they're doing in the minor league system. They don't teach anything. Clint Frazier brought up, I think he started a podcast recently, so maybe he'll get into that. We know about the infamous Ben Ruta YouTube chat comments that he was making. So, there's evidence that the Yankees are not teaching certain things, and they don't believe in hot.
What did Brian Cashman say about Ben Ruta? He got very, very snarky about Ben Ruta.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can't handle anyone calling him out. They've got a mafioso situation over there. It's a fucking mafia.
Not a good one either.
Not a good one.
That's actually a really good comparison because those mob guys, they can dish it out, but if you say one thing that slightly irks them, oh boy, are they defensive. So you know what? You're right.
Incredibly defensive.
Italians.
But you're right, and they don't practice the fundamentals. The Yankees are mocked around the league. They are not looked up as, wow, the Yankees. They're looked at as this arrogant ass team that can't fucking play baseball. And they don't practice fundamentals. They are not respected around the league anymore. They used to be. We used to be hated. They don't hate us anymore. You only hate what you can't have, you know what I mean? But they beat the piss out of everyone beats the piss out of the Yankees. Even the Rockies took a game off the Yankees this year. The Yankees are just not a good baseball team. And they're incredibly
shut down
arrogant.
by Jason Alexander. The dude had a 5 ERA, and he was no-hitting us.
George Costanza no-hit us for 5+ innings. Are you kidding me? This is a great team. Fuck off.
What did Boone say? I thought we were putting together some good at-bats. You were gone for half the game, so what do you know about it? Just stop lying to us. I wish he'd get himself ejected more often so we don't have to fucking look at him.
Brad Ausmus does a better job because as soon as Aaron Boone got sent to the locker room, he actually brought in Big G. So maybe Brad Ausmus has a better idea of what's going on. He put in Stanton pretty much immediately.
And he used Williams in the 6th inning and not the 9th inning.
Right. Maybe he's the fucking manager we need to go to. I don't know, because he's actually more qualified than Aaron Boone, by the way. But let's go back to the whole Stanton stuff. I don't understand it, but it speaks to my biggest issue with Boone this year. We've talked about his lying. We've talked about all that stuff and the lack of accountability. We get all that. But just on the day-to-day, there's no consistency with the lineup. There's no consistency with who he goes to, turns to, the bullpen. There's just no consistency. And I think that speaks to the inconsistent results that we're getting. Where actually is consistent. It's consistently bad. But do you know what I'm saying? The lineups are not consistent. And we've been saying this a long, long time. You need to get a consistent lineup. Last year, we had a consistent lineup. And we ran it pretty much every day. And it got us to a World Series, whether you like it or not. Now, most of the reason why we made the World Series had nothing to do with Aaron Boone. In fact, all of it had nothing to do with Aaron Boone. It was all because of Juan Soto and Big G. But let's be honest. He needs to be more consistent. This lineup is inconsistent. I have no idea who's playing one day to the next. I have no idea who's going to play the outfield one day to the next. If G even makes the lineup, he's only going to be in it for 3 innings. I mean, that's the kind of shit that we're dealing with right now. It's partly the roster construction because, as Mike Francesa says, there's about 4 DHs in this roster. It's very difficult to navigate it. I get that. But Boone ain't doing it. So, don't you think that's part of the issue, Rob?
It definitely is. And just add it to the list. Like, you can write a book about the issues with Aaron Boone over the past 7.5 years, going on 8. Because I remember making a tweet back in like April of 2018, like, this guy's bullpen management makes Joe Girardi look like a wizard. Like, that was like his first month into managing. And I think it was Yankee Source on Twitter that back in 2018, Aaron Boone was a disaster, and we're still dealing with it. Thank you, Miguel. We appreciate that. We try to be as honest as we can and tell it like it is, because we're sick of it, and I wish we can get to every single comment that we've had in our chat. Believe me, we're reading them. But they're flying in. There's been so much to talk about, and you guys are all making great points in the chat. There's nothing really to be positive about with this team, but the Stanton stuff is spot on. The lineup stuff, we've been saying this since the first day of the season. Austin Wells hits a leadoff home run on opening day. The next day, he's batting like 7th. Mm-hmm. He hasn't touched a leadoff spot since, where he was actually hitting. And you know what's happened to Austin Wells this year? He's been awful. Exactly. Stock down. His stock market has completely crashed. He went from a guy that we thought was going to be an all-star with the way he was swinging the bat in the spring, his first game, and now the guy can barely touch the outfield grass. Like, that's how bad it's been.
Fucking bad.
So again, I look at him as a prospect that has plummeted since getting regular playing time. I look at Anthony Volpe, who has not improved after 3 seasons. I look at a lot of other Yankee Peraza with increased chances this year. Nothing. What happens to the next crop of prospects? Because imagine they do call up Spencer Jones next year and eventually Lombard. They don't know if they're going to be playing, and that goes back to the lineup conversation, because Jason Dominguez for like the first 3 months had to claw his way into the lineup. So it's just like, you don't have a consistent lineup.
And by the way, he is out of position. He can't play left field. I'm pretty confident of that.
Right. What do we say in the spring? Give it the first few weeks of spring, maybe the first month into the season before you make a decision. Well, it's August now, and he's been analytically like the worst left fielder in baseball.
We'll try him in right field at Yankee Stadium. It'll be less
back in center. He's got the speed. Put Bellinger in left. Bellinger can handle left.
Bellinger's, well, I was going to say he's really good in left until you saw what
he saw yesterday, but mostly he's going to be a good left fielder. And it's like, if they do go and sign a Kyle Tucker next year, where are you going to put him? You're not going to put him in right or center. You got to put him in left. So, like, maybe you switch Dominguez. I feel like Spencer Jones would be better in left field because he's so good. You got to put Dominguez where I think he's a better center field than left, because he was fine in center field. He's got the speed to handle center. I don't know what the hell it is that he just left field he's gotten worse. He started off pretty decently, but he's just gotten worse. I don't know what it is.
I mean, you're probably going to be looking at Spencer Jones being the center fielder next year.
And that's the reason, though, Steve, would be sorry to cut you off, but that's the reason why I think he would be a better left fielder, because he's already good in center. Like Cody Bellinger, if you can handle center, fine, you can switch over and you'll be okay. But like Dominguez, I feel like he's just got to be in center field. I just don't know what it is.
I tend to agree with the chat. I don't trust him. I don't trust him in the outfield. I play him in right field because there's less room out there. You know what I'm saying? And with a really good center fielder, a rangy center fielder like Trent Grisham / Bellinger, there's going to be less pressure on him to fuck it up. He looks lost in left field. In that big, roomy left field in Yankee Stadium, he looks completely lost. And basically any roomy left field, he looks completely lost. But that just speaks to, again, the Yankees don't develop their prospects. They have no idea what they're doing with them. They don't work with them. I don't know. They don't coach these people. They're all just like stalked down as soon as they become Yankees. Woo! It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And I don't understand why Brian Cashman is okay with this. Why is he okay with this? It's his reputation on the line. He's the one that's bringing in all these players. He's the one that's giving up key prospects in order to bring in these players to try and win. You know, he's the one that's bringing through these prospects. He wants these prospects to succeed. They're not succeeding. Mostly because of Aaron Boone. And he's just delighted with Aaron Boone. There's such a contradiction there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, Dominguez is an issue. The lack of consistency in the lineup is a huge issue. They need to find a lineup. But we're talking about Austin Wells. Austin Wells is injured. He's clearly got an injury. I think he's got some sort of circulation issue with his hand. He's injured. He is flat out injured. He should not be on the roster right now. He should be on the IL. Aaron Judge should probably be on the IL right now.
Yep.
They're forcing him, and he doesn't look ready. If you can't play the outfield, then you're not ready. Right? Let's be perfectly honest about that. He should be on the IL as well. Max Fried should also be on the IL.
That blister, ever since that blister, he's been bad.
That blister is a problem. The Yankees mismanage injuries worse than I have ever seen in any sport. I mean, we've seen what they did with Rizzo. Basically killed his career.
Clint Frazier,
because they can't diagnose concussions. I mean, how do you not diagnose a fucking concussion? I mean, my God. But, I mean, this season alone, Max Fried has gone from like a 1+ ERA through most of the season, gets a blister. Now his ERA is 6+ since then. And so overall his ERA is like almost 3 or at least 3 now. It's clear that there is an issue. He's clearly hurt, right? Yankees take no responsibility, right? They forced Weaver back. What has happened to Weaver? Remember, Weaver was unhittable until he got injured.
Why did he get injured? Remind me, who put him in a game that we were losing by 15 runs?
Fucking Aaron Boone, of course. He got injured, right? And the timeline was like, what, 6 to 8 weeks? We brought him back within like 3 weeks. He's back within 3 weeks. And he's not been the same pitcher since. Right? What did they do with Leiter? Broke his leg.
He's fine.
He had a broken leg. He was playing for a week with a broken leg. What are the Yankees doing? This is a disgrace. I don't know why anyone would want to sign with the Yankees, because you're going to get injured with them. They're going to injure you.
It's crazy that you're completely spot on about that, because how many players have we picked up in trades that end up going on the IL or signed? Like the entire 2022 deadline made it to the IL within their first season with the team.
Yep.
That's almost unheard of. F. Ross still hasn't really recovered from those injuries. He's like the only one left. So like, yeah. You think about it, it's like, what is their process? Like with a guy like Clint Frazier, it's like, hey, what's 10 + 10? Circle. Okay, you're good. Go back in the outfield. Like, this is what they're doing to these guys. Anthony Rizzo got hit in the head, and he's swinging at pitches that are 8 feet out of the zone. He can't hit anymore. He went from an MVP candidate to one of the worst players within a matter of like 3 days, and they're like, he's fine. And he's like, I'm fine. No, you're not. Why is it that everybody else in baseball can see that this guy's not fine, but the Yankees and the player are like, no, I'm good. Clearly you're not good. Your defense plummeted. Your offense plummeted. The Yankees are like, he's okay. Mark Leiter is a perfect example. The dude hurt his leg and he was still pitching. Aaron Judge is your most important player that you've probably had in the last decade plus, right? I don't know if there's another Yankee that's been more important than Judge to this team. And you're like, 10-day minimum. Even if don't let the player, I know it's Judge, but don't let the player force his way back.
Dude. Judge was injured in the Toronto series. You could tell he was lobbing the ball instead of throwing the ball. And Aaron Boone's like, he's fine.
It's just a little thing.
Just a little thing. He'll be fine. He played him the next day, the day after.
He'd make the worst cop in the world. He'd find a dead body and be like, I think he's moving. And it's like, dude, it's just stiff. I just don't know how this keeps happening. Like, it's been years that we've been, from us doing this show, but it's been years prior to that when a guy gets hurt and they go, we don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And then he's on the shelf for a month. The Weaver thing is a great example as well. It's like he was supposed to be out for at least 4 or 5 weeks, and then he's back. And luckily lately he's been better. But like when he first came back, he was getting tagged because he wasn't 100%. So they don't wait. They don't get guys on the IL when they should, and they bring them back early. And then they risk further injury. They play guys when they're hurt. You risked Aaron Judge. you risk his elbow because that could be a situation kind of like with Bryce Harper when they lost him and he had to move to first base. I don't know if Judge can handle first base because his body type doesn't scream first baseman to me. 6'7", I don't know if that's going to work. So it's like, I don't want to risk him having to become a full-time DH at the age of 33, 34. That's risky because you need him. He's still a damn good right fielder, so why risk his elbow in a season that's kind of plummeting down the toilet? Now, I get it. You're not going to give up on the season, but it'd be a lot easier to give up on the season if Judge is out for the rest of the year. What are you doing? Why do you keep doing this to your players? And you're going to be their friend, but you're the reason why they're getting hurt. Remember, he moved Jazz to third and he hurt his arm. So
that was another one. That was a good one, yeah. What about Clark Schmidt? He's gone for the season. There was a couple of starts where he was just like he wasn't feeling too good after it. Right?
Yep.
Turns out he needs surgery. Aaron Boone's like, I'll be fine in 5 days. You're good. You're good.
Give him an extra day.
What about Garrett Cole? Spring training, Garrett Cole threw like 40 pitches. Now, this is with us now knowing that the Yankees were aware that he had an issue there. More likely than not, he's going to need Tommy John surgery, right? So they managed to stave it off last season, right? We get into spring training this year, and then there's a start where Garrett Cole throws like 40 pitches. Boone does the right thing, gets him out. Puts him back in the next inning. We never saw Garrett Cole again. Do you remember that? I didn't like it at the time.
Let's not forget Stanton.
I didn't like that he brought Garrett Cole back in the game. And we never saw Garrett Cole since. Now, I'm not saying that was the reason why he needed Tommy John surgery, but I'm saying that that's the way he mismanages people. If you know that there is an injury that could potentially happen with Garrett Cole and you need to wrap him with cotton wool, why are you bringing him back in a spring training game, meaningless spring training game? He mismanages injuries. He's been doing it for years.
Let's not forget Stanton's elbows.
Stanton has no elbows.
They knew about it since last year. They didn't get another bat just to replace him.
It's absurd. But what isn't absurd is this chat. We've got a lot of really good comments, so I think to close it off, we should go through some of these comments and pick out the ones that.
I like Michael's latest comment. That's actually, he's got a great point. We can just replay this next October.
Right, exactly. Dude, we can replay this annually. I don't know if Judge needs surgery, but they're forcing him back. And I'd prefer. I just don't see the point. And there's no timeline for when he's coming back, so that doesn't help us with Stanton.
Right.
So what's this ramping Stanton up to the outfield thing? Was that just nonsense? Was that just a big crock of shit? Because
just to play him for 3 innings and take him out.
Yeah. Let's get into some of this. All right, Michael H says Boone is not the problem. It's the people who hired him are the main problem. Rob?
That kind of goes to what I was saying at the start of the show. It's like I can put a lot of it on Boone, but I can't blame him fully because the people that hired him and gave him that job over baseball people are still there. From the GM to the assistants to the analytics staff, those fucking morons. So, yeah, I mean, Boone is definitely a big part of the problem, but another big part of that problem is the guys that brought him in and continue to extend him and keep lying to us that he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Stevie B, read earlier that he's recovering from COVID, so rest up, my guy. Drink plenty of water. Dr. Donald here. Drink plenty of water and maybe take some vitamin D supplements, though. And vitamin B, usually that kind of solves that stuff. But Donald, I've been saying that with Wells, his swing, his throws are off. Exactly. I think that there is an injury right there with him, and the Yankees are mismanaging him. Luca follows that up with the Yankees are a lie factory when it comes to injuries. Luca is spot on. Hope Tennessee is treating you well, Luca. New York misses you. Michael H. Problem with the Yankees is that no matter what they do, at the next home game, the stands will be full and the money train will keep going. Exactly, that is true. How do you make a statement to Hal Steinbrenner when you know that 46,000 people are going to fill it out every single day? Because the truth is, Yankee Stadium, very much like Madison Square Garden, is a tourist attraction. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a tourist attraction now. And if the diehard Yankees take a step back, like myself, I last year I went to a lot of games. This year I've been at one, and I'm not going any more. Went to one game this year. I have no interest in doing any more. The diehards will step back, but there'll be a tourist to take my spot. There'll be a tourist to take everyone else's spot. That's it. There's always going to be 46,000 people that's going to fill out. How do you make that statement? Well, I hope that Aaron Boone Fire Day works. I hope that it's more of a united thing. I hope that everybody in right field does their job, because I think that's the only way that you can make any difference. You know what I'm saying?
Welkin's got a great point though, because
Say,
Fire Boone Night is just a psyop. You're giving them money if you go to the stadium. That's what I said earlier. You're still giving them your money, and I can't blame people for wanting to go watch a game. Right? If you let's say it's like even on a night like where they're losing, but if it's like it's good weather, you got nothing else to do, I'm gonna go see a ball game if I can get in for a decent price. Like I can't blame people for wanting to go to the stadium, but I also wouldn't blame people for not wanting to go to the stadium.
exactly. It's a fun time. It's a great time going to Yankee Stadium. You never have a bad time going to Yankee Stadium. So if you're gonna want to go. But it's hard to want to go because they treat you with such disrespect. You know what I'm saying? John the Beagle Dad, I've never agreed with the decision to put Dominguez in left. He should have been in center. Fritz doesn't buy it he doesn't actually buy into Jones. I don't buy into Jones as long as I don't witness Jones. I personally think, and I don't know about Rob. Will ask Rob. My personal opinion is I think Spencer Jones will be a better prospect than Dominguez. It's risky, but I genuinely think so. Look what he's doing in AAA. 30 home runs, he's got crazy speed, and he's got crazy range. I think this guy's legit. I think he's legit. Rob?
I think I've said this about Spencer Jones for a couple of years now. I think he has all the tools to be really damn good. He's got the speed, he's got the defense, he's got the power. He can get on base. And he's smart. I'm very, very worried about how that strikeout rate is going to translate to the major leagues. I don't know if he's going to be Joey Gallo. I don't know if he's going to be Kyle Schwarber. He's not going to be Aaron Judge. I don't want anyone putting that unnecessary pressure on him to be the lefty Aaron Judge. Stop it. Because they did it with Schlittler, calling him a young Garrett Cole after one start. Let's not do that, because you're setting these kids up for you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. Spencer Jones, I'll say this, they could put him in center field next year and I'll be fine. They could have traded him this deadline for like an all-star elite closer, and I would have been fine with it. I like Spencer Jones. I can understand why there's some hesitation with him being anointed as the future of the Yankees in center field, because that strikeout rate is still very, very high. And he's like 24, 25. So it's like at some point.
Let's pull up his stats. Let's talk about that. You're going to get his stats up. Because, I mean, he's got 30 home runs in the minors. I mean, he's been mashing in AAA. And isn't his strikeout numbers going down a little bit?
No, there's still kind of an issue. Like everything else, again, it's easy to say that look at Aaron Judge, he strikes out. Look at Giancarlo, he strikes out. But these guys have been doing it for so long.
But these are power guys. The power guys are going to strike out.
So currently, combining both AA and AAA, he has a 30% strikeout rate this year compared to last year, which was simply, it's down. It's 36. He went down from 36 to 33. But it has jumped up from AAA. It's to a 25%. So it has gone down a little bit in AAA, but it's still pretty high overall.
But his batting average is high, isn't it?
Yeah. He's hitting in total right now 294 on the year. So the
On paper.
numbers scream great. Like he's got a 182 weighted runs created plus in
What's
minors this year.
182?
Yeah,
182.
he's having a great season. I
That's
do worry.
80% above league average.
It's very good. But again, will that translate to the major leagues when he's facing the best of the best?
How much could it possibly drop? I mean,
It can drop. Again, I'm not saying it's going to. I'm saying it can. And there's a reason why he fell off and he just finally got back into the top 100 prospect list.
He's in there.
There are reasons why he fell a little bit in prospect rankings. I'm not saying because he's going to be a flop. I'm just saying there are some concerns there because of that strikeout rate. He had to readjust his stance like 4 times this year just to kind of get himself.
I'm not worried about the strikeout rate. I'm worried about the fact he has to change his stance all the time. That's something that's not going to work at the big league level. Like he needs to have a consistent stance that you can trust. Because we've kind of seen that with Anthony Volpe, where he loses his swing constantly, and then it takes him like 3 months to get it back.
If he's lucky, 3 months.
If he's lucky, that's something. I'm definitely that is something. But when you 182 weighted runs created plus, that's absolutely absurd. Mind Swamp has got possibly the best quote that we've ever had in the Pinstripe Chronicles, and he's spot on here. Brings me problems that he constantly lies. Man who lies to himself and believes his own lies becomes unable to recognize truth either in himself or in anyone else. That same applies to Brian Cashman, by the way.
Let me paint that picture of that with the quote and just hang it up on our walls.
I know. I mean, that's just fucking so profound, Michael, Mind Swamp. So thank you so much for that. Really profound. Really do appreciate that Miguel's comment here. This is one of the best podcasts I've seen. You guys say it like it is. Don't hold back. I love it. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that you've subbed up and are now part of the channel. Welcome to the family. Got your dad in the chat. I have a question, guys. At this point, why would you want this team making the playoffs when, in all honesty, they're going nowhere?
I agree. I completely agree.
I never want to see my team lose. It's like the same. I'll talk about football for a second. Everyone's like, I want the Giants to tank. I never celebrate losing. I celebrated wins, even when they were considered meaningless wins. I had fun watching the Giants beat the Packers a couple of years ago because I don't like the Packers. But at the same time, there's a little part of me that's like, if the Yankees miss the playoffs and they fire, and if you knew that if they missed the playoffs, Boone would get fired, would you support it? I'd probably be like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I hate losing. I don't ever advocate for losing, for tanking. But if it means that we get rid of that stench and they finally start to clean things up, maybe it's necessary. But I never want to see my team lose.
Glad you bring up the Giants. Let's go Big Blue.
Football season's here, baby.
Let's go. I'm excited about the Giants. And I'm not going to make this about the Giants, but I'm going to say I'm excited about the Giants. Why? Because Daniel Jones is gone. The Giants have a fresh outlook, right? The Giants are fresh. They got rid of that stench. The stench was Daniel Jones. They got rid of that stench. And now they look good. They look exciting. They look fresh. And even if the expectations are modest, I'm excited. So let's compare that with the Yankees. If the Yankees got rid of Aaron Boone, you got rid of that stench. You get rid of that stench. You get rid of that awful, get rid of it. And then you're free. And then you're free to have higher expectations. You're free to have fresher outlook. Even if there's only going to be like a modest upgrade, it still feels fresh because you got rid of that thing that's been holding you down, that cloud that's been hanging over you. And that's what Aaron Boone is and Brian Cashman combined and Mike Fishman and all that stuff. So you can actually compare the two right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very glad you brought up Big Blue. Right now, the Big Blue might only win 8 games, 7 games. Who knows?
Might win 4 with that schedule.
I'm going to be very excited. Why? Because they've got a fresh outlook now. They got rid of that stench, and now they can move forward. And that's what the Yankees have to do to succeed. They have a cloud hanging over them. They've got a piano strapped to their back. They've got a fucking parasite in their stomach. Whatever fucking way you want to put it, it's holding them down. It's holding the Yankees back from succeeding. This organization Brian Cashman, Mike Fishman, Aaron Boone, the Three Stooges are holding the Yankees back. And a
100%.
simple move by changing up the analytics and getting rid of Aaron fuckface Boone would honestly get rid of all the fucking parasite. Get rid of the piano on your back. Get rid of the weight on your shoulder. Get rid of that fucking cloud hanging over you. You're free to move forward. A little bit of a change. Even if you made the change right now, which I think would be a great thing to do, and you only get a modest upgrade with Brad Ausmus till the end of the season, at least you're making a change and it feels fresh.
And it at least tells people that you're serious about this thing.
Exactly. So that's how I view Daniel Jones. I was right about that. He was that. He's gone now. Giants look better already. In one fucking preseason game, they look better. So there you go. That's what I view Aaron Boone. I think Aaron Boone is that. Now, whether he is all of that, I don't know. He's partly culpable. But just making that move, I think you'd be fresher and you have a fresher outlook. And then you can move forward. Because, by the way, I like this team next year. But if Aaron Boone's still the manager, then it's fucked.
And that right there lies the problem. Because you have Aaron Judge. You probably won't have Bellinger because he's at this rate he'll opt out. But you'll still have Dominguez. You'll have Ben Rice. I don't know about Wells at this point, but you'll still have Jazz for one more year. You'll have Ryan McMahon on the roster. You'll still have Bednar and Doval and hopefully they bring Weaver back, but you'll have a lot of really good pieces with some guys coming up from the minor leagues. Schlittler will be pretty much half the season into his career. You'll have a healthy Luis Heel. You'll get Garrett Cole back at some point. You'll still have Rodon and Fried. You'll have a good-looking team, but if you still have the same leadership running that team, who's to say that next August we're not sitting here talking about the exact same thing with 50-plus people in the chat telling us, didn't you say this last year? And we'll be like, we did, didn't we? And so I don't want to have that same problem because the Yankees should be the team to beat every single year. That's not arrogance. That's because you're the richest franchise in the entire sport. You have the third highest payroll, and the only reason you don't have the highest payroll, or at least the second highest, is because you refuse to go over your own budget when you shouldn't have a budget because you're the New York Yankees. And it's clear as day that whatever money you're afraid of spending, you're going to get back because we just mentioned it a few minutes ago, 40,000 people still show up during one of the worst stretches of baseball we have ever watched. They're still showing up. Right. They're still, and for some reason, still booing Altuve. Can you stop doing that? But they're still showing up to the games despite, yeah, he's kicking our ass every single time. But they want to come watch the team play. They want to come watch the team win. What did Aaron Judge say? We're paid to win games. We're not doing our job. They're not doing their job, but the fans are still paying their money to go watch you play. And you can't give...
Aaron Judge is soft. I tend to agree with him. I don't think.
Yeah, Luca is not a big fan of Judge's captaincy. But
neither am I. I mean, now, Rob, you are a huge Aaron Judge defender, man. Don't you think that he needs to set the tone as the Yankee captain? He needs to do more. Don't you agree?
I certainly think he does. And I don't know what it can be. He's not going to go out there and fight somebody because it would be he'd be in jail. But maybe he needs to listen to a little bit of what Posada said. I feel like the worst thing they did was go with the more team-friendly oriented manager because Judge had that great season and you can see greatness on the horizon for him after 2017, and they needed to keep him with a guy that was going to push the prospects forward because he's the only one out of that group that got better. Everyone else got worse when they made the change. Remember that. So I think Aaron Judge kind of needs to take a page out of Posada's book and not listen to everything Aaron Boone has to say. We know they're great friends. Yes. I get that. I don't have a problem with Boone defending his players and wanting to be cool with his guys, but the fact that every single player on this roster has adopted that exact same mentality, so you get it from the manager and you get it from the captain, it's going to trickle down to everybody else.
It is, and that's the problem. That's why I think Boone is such a problem. You need to shed that because everyone in the locker room are echoing Aaron Boone. They all just say the same thing. Oh, I'll be right around the corner. I'll be fine tomorrow. It's the same stuff. Now, Aaron Judge is doing his part in terms of he's leading by example on the field and off the field in terms of preparation. No one better. I mean, he's available to play every day, and he's the best player in baseball, bar none. Right? So he leads by example for sure, but as the captain of the Yankees, there are higher expectations. There are higher expectations than just leading by example. You also need to lead the locker room because the manager ain't doing it. You need to hold some kind of standards to the rest of that locker room. But if you just echo the same stuff that Aaron Boone is saying, then nothing is changing. He's just like, and he keeps saying it every, we got to do better. We got to do better. We got to do better. It's boring. It's boring. He needs to be angrier. He needs to be tougher. I need to see it. I need to see it. And
That's a fair point.
And he needs to be less of a friend to Aaron Boone. I think that's a bad thing when you're best pals with your manager. I mean, dude, you can do that. If you want to go on vacation with him, be my guest after the season. But during the season, it's business time. It's business.
Yeah. You want Boone to show up at your house for breakfast in the morning?
Right.
Pop in, say hello.
Yeah.
Fine. But
yeah, right. But that's anyway. If he wants to do that in the off season, be my guest. But during the regular season, it's business time. It's business, and I'm sorry, Aaron Boone ain't doing his job, and people in his locker room, Aaron Judge's locker room, ain't doing their jobs, and it's up to Aaron Judge to hold them to account. He is not doing it because not enough people are doing it because they're all answering the Aaron Boone stuff. Everything's fine. Just be around the corner. We got to play better. I'm fucking sick of hearing, we got to play better. Well, play better then. I mean, when every game is worse than the one prior, there's a fucking problem. Right? They almost got no hit yesterday. And that was after that big home run from Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham is that big home run that should have been like the catalyst. And the very next day, they were essentially got no hit.
They've had so many of those games in the last 2 months that you thought this is the one that turns them around. Like you thought that game where Bednar came in for 40 plus pitches would have been the game that turned him around. It didn't. And you thought maybe the Grisham game would be the one that turned him around. They played worse the next day. So it's what does that tell you about the team? Every time you think that they're close to turning it around, the manager does something to take it all away from you by putting in Devin Williams. And refusing to take Devin. You got 3 closers. You got 2 different closers at the deadline, and you stuck with the worst one. And you said it yourself, no, we like where he's at right now. We're going to keep him in the closer role. That decision has already cost you 2 wins since the trade deadline, at least. It's how do you not see the problems here? So again, just to circle it back to earlier in the show, an hour and a half ago, is it all on Aaron Boone? No, but is he the easiest one to blame as part of the problem here? Yes. A lot of it falls, if there was a pie graph of who's to blame for the New York Yankees, a lot of it would be colored in Aaron Boone red, and then you'd have Cashman a little piece, and then Hal a little piece, the analytics staff would be a bigger piece, but a lot of it's going to fall on Aaron Boone because every single time he makes a decision, it seems to be the wrong one. Like sitting Stanton, like putting in Devin Williams and refusing to take him out of that role when you already saw that happened. What happens when you take him out of the role, it fixed Devin Williams. What happened yesterday? He went into a different role, and he was brilliant in the 6th inning. Why didn't they just stick with that? And we may not have had this problem, and maybe we're sitting here 7 games better in the standings, and we're sitting right outside of first place, or we're still in first place, and we're not sitting here thinking about firing the manager or wondering who's to blame or wondering what's going to happen next year when this prospect comes up or are they going to trade this guy? Trade Jazz, move Volpe? We don't have these conversations if they just make little decisions and stick to their guns. Instead, right. Aaron Boone kind of has to circle back because he's afraid of hurting somebody's feeling. Fuck your feelings. This team is trying to win a World Series. I don't care if Devin Williams has to shave his beard after every blown save, but do something to set the tone with this team, because accepting this kind of brand of baseball, and you're wondering why fans are mad, but we're the spoiled ones, and we got to watch where every single reporter and someone said it earlier in the chat, other fan bases feel bad for us. That never happens. Everyone loves to hate the New York Yankees, and other fan bases like, Jesus Christ, I feel bad you guys got to watch this every day. That's how rough it is. You never see that.
They had sympathy for us because he was managing the All-Star game, mismanaged it, and then people were like, damn, I never thought I'd feel sorry for the Yankees. But they have to put up with this manager every day.
Exactly.
Jean-Jacques got a point here. Hal Steinbrenner is still holding a grudge against his dad for choosing to pass on the organization to his sister. Well, clearly his dad had the fucking right thing. Maybe his dad knew. Maybe his dad fucking knew that Hal was not. Because Hal has never once complimented his dad. I can't think of a single time that Hal Steinbrenner has said any complimentary of his dad. And I think it's a great shame. Because he does everything the precise opposite of what his dad does. Now, I'm not asking him to be his dad. But to be the exact opposite of his dad is insulting. His dad was hands-on. Hal's hands-off. His dad held standards. Hal holds no standards. His dad prioritized winning. Hal prioritizes chicken buckets and ticket sales. Right? That's the difference. You know what I mean? George would fire anybody.
Fire Joe Torre.
George would fire literally anybody. Hal fires absolutely nobody. Nobody. Not at all. Nothing. Nobody. No one's getting fired. Everyone stays. That's the difference. There's as I said in my show, it's just like, people on the outside can say whatever they want about George Steinbrenner. They can say he was bad for baseball, he was bad for this, he was bad for the game, whatever. You can say all you want, but you cannot lie that he got results. You cannot lie that he got results. He got results. He got results. He is the one that raised the Yankees' value into the billions. Not Hal. George did. Because they won championships. They became the best of the best. They won multiple championships under George. Because George set a standard. He set a standard, and everyone had to live to that standard. If you wear the pinstripes, if you wear the NY logo on your hat, by God, you better win, and by God, you better perform. Because if you don't, I will move you. And I will publicly embarrass you while doing that. That's setting a fucking standard, man. And now, Hal is doing the exact opposite. There are no standards for wearing the pinstripes. There's nothing. You don't even have to play very well, because you're gonna get an extension. If you're a shitty manager, you're gonna get multiple extensions. That's the new Hal Steinbrenner. I don't know if Hal Steinbrenner is nearly as bad as he's making himself out to be. Maybe he's. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not in the building, but it doesn't seem like he cares too much.
Right, and that's the problem.
That's the problem.
There's no response from him, even a little quote.
Yep.
Just to say like he's unhappy with this. And what did he say 2 years ago? Was it during 2023? It was like, we're gonna have to have some difficult conversations if this keeps up and if we miss the playoffs. And they still extended Aaron Boone. Because he made the World Series last year. That's why, I hated that they were even talking extension with him. Like, they should have been like, okay, you got to one-up yourself this year on the last year of your deal. But they decided to give him the security blanket of an extra 2 seasons. And I think the biggest difference between Hal and George is George made the tough decision, at least when he was still running the show. He had to let go of Joe Torre. And Joe Torre won a lot.
That was a mistake. Yeah.
They had to let him go. And they let him go when they stopped winning championships. The Yankees haven't sniffed a champ. Well, they got close last year, but they haven't been able to win a championship with Aaron Boone at the helm, and they continuously extend him. There's the difference. And no, Joe Girardi is not the answer. I don't think he ever was the answer. His bench coach and his third base coach were probably the answer to replace him. But I'll say this, and even as not a fan of Girardi, I would run through freaking glass if we can have him back over Aaron Boone, because that's how bad it's been with Aaron Boone. Like, I'd actually rather have Girardi, and I didn't think I'd ever say that.
You can't lie that Girardi got the most out of some limited resources, 2009 apart, but there was some really bad lineups. There was a lineup that he managed to get to go 85 and 77, and Brett Gardner, Eduardo Nunez, Robinson Cano, Kevin Youkilis, Vernon Wells, Ben Francisco, Ichiro Suzuki, Jason Nix, and Francisco Cervelli were playing most of the time that year, and they went 85 and 77 with Joe Girardi.
Was that 2013?
I think it was. It was 2013.
Because Jeter was hurt that year. Granderson was hurt. A-Rod was suspended / hurt. Teixeira was hurt.
If Aaron Boone managed that team, they would have about 3 wins. They would be 359.
But Ben Francisco can mash. Don't forget that.
But that just shows like their standards have dropped significantly. The standards have significantly dropped from someone who got the most out of very limited resources to Aaron Boone now, who actually gets less out of a multitude of resources. Last year, he had Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole. And they still went on a summer-long losing streak. He does not get the most out of his resources. Look at this team. He's 5 closers. And he can't win. He can't manage a bullpen. He's got 5 fucking closers. What are we doing here? He doesn't get the most out of his resources. So anyone who says, what's flaring Aaron Boone going to do? Motherfucker, look at this team. Look at where we're at. We're barely above 500. With a team that should be so much better than this. You can't tell me that he doesn't get the most out of it, that he gets the most out of his resources. He just doesn't.
He doesn't. I mean, look, again, I know he hasn't had many fans nowadays, but Anthony Volpe was a top 5 prospect. He's gotten worse. Austin Wells, he's gotten worse. Jazz Chisholm goes through these lulls where this is a guy that should be a 30-30 player, and you would think that he was one of the worst players in baseball with the way he's looked lately.
What's going on with him, man? This body language looks off.
Swinging at the first pitch every single time. He's popping up. He's not doing anything offensively. But again, he's making mistakes in the base paths. He said he would do it again. The manager supports that. So again, these conversations that we've been having for years, it's all really showing its ugly head this season. It's like people are finally starting to open their eyes to the problems with the Yankees and the fact that the guy in the dugout is allowing this kind of behavior no matter who comes in. I really do like Jazz Chisholm.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's the kind of player that I want on my team with the energy. I don't even care about with the gear he wears. It's colorful. It's cool. I don't care about that. But you want that kind of energy. You want that kind of talent. 30-30 type of player with great defense at second base. Why wouldn't I want that?
Yeah.
But there are times you're like, should they keep him? Because it's like, do you look at his, and I think they should keep him as long as they don't have the same manager in place, because you kind of need a manager that's going to be like, all right, look, that's fine and all. You do your thing. Because Joe Girardi had Nick Swisher on his staff, and Nick Swisher was a fucking lunatic. But it worked. It worked. They don't have that kind of mixture. And you have the guy that's just going to allow that kind of behavior. Go ahead and sleep on the base paths, because I believe you can beat the throw to second base too. That's stupid. And that's where the problem is with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and that is really it. I mean, look at the fact that Gleyber Torres is a much better player since leaving the Yankees. They do not get the most out of their resources. I think it's pretty clear that they don't get the most out of their resources. God, Donnie, if you're right that Boone isn't going anywhere, then we're cooked. Because there's a good roster here. Look what the rotation we could potentially have next year. Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Rodon, Heel, and Cam Schlittler. Clark Schmidt could come back.
Even Will Warren's been fine this year. He hasn't been
Will
terrible.
Warren. I mean, that is a good rotation. Next year's bullpen, you're going to have Bednar, who's a monster. We should be talking about Bednar, but we can't because Aaron Boone's such a fucking moron. Bednar is a beast. Back-to-back 5-out saves? Are you kidding me? He's just like a monster. He's just like, give me the ball, I'll fucking win. Fuck off, Boone. Go back to the dugout. I'll fucking win. That's a big man right there. It's a grown man. So you go him. You go Duval. Duval will be better next year once he's comfortable in surroundings. I think he's a great pickup. Guy throws like 101 mile an hour cutter. He's a beast. He's going to be good. So you got him out of the bullpen. I'm sure you will re-sign Weaver. We've got ourselves a bullpen right there. The lineup. It needs one more bat, but it's there. The lineup's good. It's fine.
Kyle Tucker.
But it needs a bat. It needs a Tucker. I don't know how you're going to make it work, but you need to make it work. It needs a Tucker. Or you go and piss off the Mets and sign Pete Alonso and put him at first base. That would be pretty fucking badass too. Like you need one bat to help Aaron Judge and Big G, and I think the lineup next year will be complete. But it's all irrelevant if Aaron Boone is in charge because he has proven year after year after year that he cannot get the most out of his resources and the resources at his disposal. It's clear as day at this point. Clear as day. Since 2018, we've had about, I would say, how many championship rosters has Aaron Boone had since 2018? A ton more than Joe Girardi had in his
Probably
tenure.
7. I mean, I think maybe not 2023 because the injury to Judge, but like going into that season, it's hard to argue that he didn't have a championship caliber roster.
I would say last year was a pretty championship caliber roster, and he managed to fuck that up.
2022.
2022 absolutely was a
21.
because you had
2019.
Prime Stanton, you Prime G. 2018, you could make that argument.
He got Giancarlo coming off an MVP with Judge.
Right.
And they got bounced out in the first round. So, with Sevy being a Cy Young candidate for most of that season.
Derek Cole?
2020. They 20 after 2019. They let him another issue with the Yankees. They let several players go to Houston, which has, cost a couple of chances to go to the World Series.
I actually think Sunil is spot on your 19, 22, and 2024. I think those, he's had at least 3 championship caliber rosters, and he's managed to fuck them all up. So,
I mean, how many times over the last hour and 40 minutes have we said the same thing? This guy's a problem.
He is the problem, but it's Mike Fishman as well. I mean, we haven't really talked about Fishman. Very briefly, he has far too much power in this organization, and he's the one that's setting this idea that no one's hot, no one's cold, and you're just
idiot.
Are who you are. It's completely moronic. He is a fucking idiot. He is the one that's come up with some of these crazy-ass fucking lineups that Aaron Boone has to put out and justify to the world. So he's one of those faceless little pricks that is a huge problem.
He got a very punchable face, too. That's for damn sure.
Very punchable face. Very punchable face. He is a little prick. Remember when he did an audit on his own analytics?
Had nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. So you tell me, any Yankee defenders tell me that there isn't a problem when the problem ran an audit on his own staff and then went, everything's fine.
Yeah. Imagine that. Like, you go to somebody and be like, hey, self-evaluate yourself. Well, I'm the best.
Exactly.
That's it. Like, why would you say anything else? Like, no one's going to ever say, like, I can probably improve. No, of course he's going to say, I think I'm great, or my staff is great. Look how many wins we have.
It's such a laughable thing. It'd be like a shop owner going to an employee who's been stealing from the money jar, right, and asking him to evaluate his performance. I'm great. I'm doing excellent. I'm doing
making a lot more money than you'll ever. It's unbelievable, man. Again, we wish we were saying these things and it was part of like some bad TV show,
right?
But it's not. This is real life. This is the New York Yankees organization.
Holy
so again, maybe, just maybe, missing the playoffs is what this front office needs to get a big kick in the ass, and they finally go, all right, wipe the slate clean. Let's just because they have a huge analytics staff, and it's like the oldest in baseball. Everyone's been around since like 2002, 2003. We're talking about 20 years. Like this is 2 decades worth of the same people in place. It worked with the Athletics because they had a decent roster and they had no choice. You know, like they had no choice but to go with the cheap route because they're a cheap team. You're the New York Yankees and you're trying to go the cheap route when you could have had the Machados of the world. You could have had the Seagers of the world. You could have got Garrett Cole 2 years early. You could have had Justin Verlander the year before. You could have made those moves.
No excuse not to have a championship. One championship, not even one since 2009. That's obscene.
Right. I don't think that's asking too much considering we're approaching 20 years. We're getting closer to 20 years since we won that World Series. That's a pretty long time for the New York Yankees to go not win a championship. I don't want to hear, oh, we did it back in the 70s. It wasn't this long, was it? Because they won in 78, and then, I guess it was that long. It was almost 20 years. It's a pretty freaking long time to wait, though, isn't it? I don't want to keep waiting 2 decades to end a championship drought when you're the New York goddamn Yankees.
Me and Rob have buddies that have never seen the Yankees win a fucking championship. And we're spoiled? It's so absurd to call us spoiled. We haven't won anything in 20 years. Right? Oh my God. This organization, man.
Makes my head spin.
Bronx Bomber is I think maybe we'll need to sign off pretty soon, but you think analytics say Volpe bat 7th inning 220. Boone refuses to bat him 9th or play Caballero a few games in his place. He's also got this point here. Last time I was saying this, Grisham hit 196 batting leadoff. He hits over 300 batting 6th and 7th. Analytics made lineup, and Grisham would not bat first. So stop it. It's Boone. Wow, it's interesting. It's either that or the analytics are just really bad at their fucking jobs, which is very possible too.
It's Boone. He makes the lineups, but analytics are going to tell you not to play a guy when they're hot. So it's a combination of things. Analytics can tell you, oh, well, Anthony Volpe's bat speed's actually been a little bit higher, so keep batting him every single day. It's only going to get better. But again, the Yankees don't believe in hot, but they seem to believe in cold because they keep playing the colder players, and they sit the hotter players. Remember when Dominguez had like a week's worth of hits, and they kept sitting him like every other day? So it's just like, why would I want to tune into the History Channel, Sunil? What, to see you? Anyway, the analytics, the analytics are certainly part of the problem. But Aaron Boone is there. It is. I had an hour and 45 minutes, and I finally got one in on my arch enemy. But yeah, it's both. You're absolutely right, Bronx Bomber. It's not all the analytics, but these guys have been at their job for far too long, just like Aaron Boone.
That was a mic drop moment. That is fucking great. Final thoughts, Robinho? Let's sign it off.
This team's frustrating. I went to sleep the other night knowing that because Devin Williams came in the game, they were going to lose. And when I woke up at 3 a.m. to go to work, I checked and saw they lost. I said, I didn't even get mad. I just went, So that's my sign off. And thank you to everybody that's been with us today. It's been a hell of a show. And, we're glad that we have some great people with us to enjoy the misery with.
You know, we haven't even done any series awards since God knows when.
Nobody deserves one.
This would normally be a show where we do some series awards. For those that are new to the show, after the end of each series, we do a series awards. We've not done it in weeks because the Yankees have been that unwatchable. I mean, if I'm going to give any credit, I'll give the MVP in the Clutch Award to Bednar
and Grisham.
And Grisham. Aaron Boone gets 0 out of 10. Again. And I can't really give a low-key MVP. I can't really give anything. Pitching award I'll give to Bednar. But really, there's only like a couple of guys that have shown up lately. Bednar's one, Grisham's another, and Big G.
Yeah.
But we don't see Big G.
Yeah, he doesn't play.
And Bednar has to fight tooth and nail to get ahead of Devin Williams and Aaron Boone's bullpen. So there we're at. That's where we are.
I'll tell you who'd be getting an L. That's for damn sure. Devin Williams and a Hicks would go to the manager.
And the Aaron Hicks Award, Devin Williams as well.
There's your awards for the last month. We just summed it up. But thank you to everybody once again in the chat. It has been fun, a hell of a lot of fun. Sneal lying that he's been spitting fire. There's a reason why we didn't bring up a lot of your comments. But anyway, thank you to everybody that's been with us here. And again, just glad that you can enjoy the misery along with us. And to Uncle Tats, we wish you the best with you and your family. We know you're going through some shit right now, so we love you, Tats. If you do watch us on the replay, we love you, and we hope everything gets better soon. Hope to see you on Wednesday. That is going to wrap it up for us here. Be sure to hit that like button. Hit that sub button. Share this out with your friends, your family, and that one stranger on the corner. This has been the Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Rob. I've been with Donald, and you find people on this Monday. We'll see you on Wednesday, hopefully with some better stuff to talk about. Let's go Yankees. Wear those pinstripes of pride. Let's go Big Blue. Wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.